Soul talk. I'm here for a little soul talk. Don't know exactly what I'm going to name this. Maybe Soul Talk with Sandeem. I'm going with that. I heard a song by Samari West, and in it, one of the verses was, "Your opinion ain't my business. I ain't trying to fit in. Your opinion ain't my business. I ain't trying to fit in." Right? We are supposed to have an opinion. We live in a duality where we're given choices, free will choices, right? Free will means that nobody has control over our will. We can give it up, but nobody has control over our will. And we also will, W-I-L-L, to have opinions. And we assume that everybody should agree with them, because we were told that follow the leader is the best game to play, right? And those that know this, that utilize the higher beings, I'll put it this way, that know how to manipulate the energy of creation, have a choice. That's right, your free will has a choice. Yeah, you know that. Free will. That's choice. It was given to you by the divine, not humankind. Not man of mankind, not woman of womankind. It was given to you by something greater than you. No matter what you label it. It doesn't matter whether you're religious or spirit. It doesn't matter if you're moving in religiosity or spiriosity. Doesn't matter. You were given that gift of free will choice, that energy to become anything that you choose for it to become. And Samari West, in her song, she says, "I ain't worried about your opinion. What's your opinion got to do with me?" I'm paraphrasing, right? So we spew out our opinions and we expect everybody to get on board with them. As if we were in junior high school or high school and we had to create a clique. So now we take it to spirit, the spirit realm, where our higher beings that that started this dance with duality. I love that. They were on the playground saying, "I want to play this and I want to play that and I want to be this and I want to be that." And everybody was saying, "Okay, you want to play that, all right, and I want to play this. So I'll be this for you and you be this for me. And you'll know right when to come in, so we get to experience the different polarities, the polarity of negative and the polarity of positive." What's the polarity of negative and positive? Well, according to the book of Ra, the raw materials, as it was studied, that our higher beings came to have this form body and to shift and evolve, and they could evolve either through the affirmative or the negative polarity. They could make a choice, and then they could play in that arena. The positive polarity is that you serve all, and you know that while you're serving all, the divine is serving you. You think of others before you think of you. No, it does not mean that you self-deprecate. It doesn't mean that you allow people to walk over you. It doesn't mean that you learn how to love from other people. That's not what it means. It means go embody yourself, who you are, and then go serve. Now, the other polarity that our higher beings get to attach themselves to, if you want to say, learn from it, and then they get to play in the field if they really like it. Body, mind, and soul is the negative polarity, which is only serving self. You look at and you see that on the news every day. People starting wars, not caring who's going to be dying behind it, or our governments, and we're looking at each of them be either they're right or they're wrong, but you never look at them that they're playing the same game called control. It just looks differently. It's still a lower polarity, but they're playing in it. Higher beings get to do that. They get to choose that. And then they get to use your body to manipulate or manifest through, because you're the form body of theirs. And you were given free will as well. So you could stop the narrative anytime. You were given the opt-out clause. What's the opt-out clause? Free will. And what are the bullet points under free will? Free will is your feelings and your emotions about what you're feeling, that the higher being is saying, I want to feel the energy of hate and loneliness. I want to feel the energy of despair. I want to feel the energy of being all of these things, these lower energies. I want to feel what it's like to be a victim. I want to feel all these energies. Why? Because in duality, there's the mirror, a higher polarity of it. So it would tell, hey, I want to go and play and I want to know what love is. Well, a higher being that they're saying they want to play with, the higher being says, well, in order to know what love is, you have to know what hate is. And you understand that I'm going to bring that part to you. I love this phrase in the song about other people's opinion and what it has to do with you. You have to decide what other people's opinions have to do with you. Because then, if other people are having opinions and sharing them in conversations and inundating you with the conversation, all you are doing is being energy that they are capital growing from. Their lower energies are growing or being being your energy is being the push they need to push their whatever their opinions are and make them greater than what your opinions are about yourself, if you have some about you. So you get to decide what areas and arenas you want to stay in, right? You get to decide what areas and arenas on the playground you want to play in. Everybody's going to have an opinion. But your opinion, everybody's opinion doesn't always have to have something to do with you unless you allow it in. You become their supply that you allow. Yes. Energy never dies. Energy was never created, nor can it be destroyed. It can only change. You get to decide what you want to do. If you're into politics, you get to decide who you choose. There's only going to be 2 people that you get to choose. You get to decide that. Not somebody else's opinion about what they think you should choose. You get to discern that. You get to discern when it's time to leave religion and embark on spirituality. You get to decide that. Regardless of whether anybody likes it or not. Regardless of their opinions about how they think you might be crazy or on the edge of being ludicrous or being crazy or deep diving down Alice's rabbit hole, and if you allow them to decide what your crazy is, you've given that power away. You cannot blame that on anybody else. We have been a society that has been told that when we make choices and they do not turn out right for us, there must be somebody nearby to blame. Or either somebody dead and gone that you can blame. It's a generational thing. Your generational thing was that when you wanted to play the story, your higher being, regardless of whether you believe it or not, and if you do, your higher beings, your souls said, I want to come as this being. I'll use myself as an example, Sandy. And I want to play in this arena and feel these things. And then Sandy plus other higher beings said, okay, you have to be this, you have to be my great grandmother, you have to bring all this story, this background history, if you want to say. And I don't break the word down to mean his story. It's not about male or female. It's about the background that they brought and they lived, and then they left a little hints in your DNA, it called light quotients, so my higher being could read that and say, oh, here we are. This is what I came to feel. I want to feel what loneliness felt with. I want to feel what rejection feels like. I want to feel like what anger feels like. I want to feel like all these things. And then all the players, all the other higher beings that came to play with me in that story, using form bodies, did their part in the story. Now here's the thing. In the story, the form body that is being utilized by my higher being gets to make choices based on how I feel about life, how I'm discerning life, or even at a point where I wasn't discerning it. All I was doing is going back into the past, and my ego was bringing back things that look like it might work in my now moment based off the past, taking judgment and trying to make things work again and expecting a different outcome. And that's what people call crazy. But now when you throw your higher being into that mix of your higher being coming in, being a form body, having a conscious mind, having the ability to make choices for itself through the negative and positive polarity, right? And throwing in the fact that it has a foreign body foreign body and mind that also has free will to add to the contrast of making choices and having an experience, then it's all on Sandy. Good and bad, happy and sad. I get to experience the array of the polarity, the polarity field, good and bad. Why? Because my higher being has to feel both of them to make its when it goes back and gives its energetic diary to the divine as an aspect of itself, as an aspect of the divine, it can tell the whole story. Now I get that you don't have to. Everything that we are living in this form is being written. You've got to ask the question, who's writing it for me? Who's writing it for me? Am I writing it for myself? It doesn't mean that we stop living in third density. It means that as you expand and as you grow and as you shift, you start seeing third density from a different conscious level. You stop seeing it from 3D level and you see it with 5D, and you judge things a little bit differently, or you discern things a little bit differently. A lot of things that used to bother you when you were seeing it through 3D consciousness don't bother you now. Or you start to say, well, I'm not about just surviving. I'm going to thrive. So whatever happens in 3D, I'm still going to thrive. regardless of what other people have other people's opinions are and how hard they vocalize them. Just because they're standing in your face yelling them doesn't mean you have to cave. If what they're saying, their opinions, are not registering for your highest and greatest good, you get to say, thank you very much for your opinion, but what's your opinion got to do with me? And walk away. Let's see. People get called crazy. People that get called crazy usually starting a revolution or looking outside the box and how conditioned we are. Yeah. But they're only seeing it from their 3D lenses. That's all. And it's not said that everybody has to have an awakening moment or has to move into spirituality. For me, I believe spirituality is just a looking at a one-to-one relationship with the divine that created you. And as soon as you stop looking outside yourself for that entity and go within, there's infinite possibilities that open up to you. It doesn't mean you ever have to leave your church. It just means that you have to know when and where and who you get to share that information with. Because not everybody in your church is going to see your relationship with the divine the way you see it. But if you don't want to walk away from family and church, you don't have to. You can still embrace the divine doing what you need to do. That just means that you have to go within and sit more with yourself and ask yourself, your higher self, an embodying question of being about being in the on the playground in the play area that you want to be playing in. You ain't got to leave family just because you are open yourself up to the divine and your one-on-one relationship. This is what will happen. You will start to embrace your one-on-one relationship, and the relationships outside of that, if they don't fit for you and your highest and greatest good, you will sit more with the divine saying, show me those things that I cannot see that are not for my highest and greatest good. Allow me to find a way to move out of them, away from them. And then you go, when it's shown to you, go embody that. Don't try to make people do what you do. For me, I tried to do that. That I thought once I had this awakening thing, everybody was going to follow me. But no, everyone has a free will, sovereign right to have their story exactly the way they want to. And not be told that they're sinful or they're evil or whatnot. They're making a choice. The law of cause and effect works for everyone, including people that you believe are doing bad and awful and horrific things. Just because you can't see it with your physical eyes, those laws are put in place and they are working. Regardless of what your opinion is to why it happened, when it happened, and who it happened, and going and telling people that they cannot have feelings about why things happen, or telling people that they are not as spiritual, and asking them to leave your page, and that's a free will choice too, because they don't see things like you see them. But if you're called to serve, then not everybody is going to fit into your high school clique. Some people are trying to get out of those cliquish things. Doesn't mean that they just stop having an opinion. You just have to ask what your opinion got to do with me. And then ask the divine, how do you want me, or how do you want us to share that information with this person? most of us are who are spiritually inclined and have wonderful pages that are inspiring and motivating, teaching and edifying, growth, expansion, and shifting, right, are going to have people who are not 100% aligned with us. Why? Because they're going through their growth. They're going through their expansion. Some of them are resisting, and the divine is bringing them to you because you're the divine believes that you are the right person to assist. But guess what? With your free will choice, you get to say no to the divine, and the divine will say, let it be so. And the world just doesn't stop because you have an awakening moment and you start having, your gifts start waking up, and you start seeing the things that you start really seeing through 3D, the way it operates, and you start operating at 4 or 5 or whatever dimensional lens you're looking at it. Doesn't mean 3D, the 3D world stops because of you. It doesn't mean that you have some greater power than somebody else. It means you're open to seeing and to making discernments through a different lens. And you get to discern for you, your growth and your expansion. And then you get to take it back and use those gifts and talents to help where help is needed. Not to change anybody. Not to shove the seed of knowledge down their throat. You can hand it to them in their hand, and only they can plant it. And then the divine will open another door where a person that knows how to water the seed will come in and share wisdom and understanding. But they don't have to take the water. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. Once again, I go back to those lyrics in that song, right, that I was listening to this morning, popping up on the radio. What's your opinion got to do with me? Unless I'm discerning it. And then you can discern it and say, really, what does it have to do with me? How is this operating for my highest and greatest good? Because we can shout at people our opinion, but basically, what's it got to do with anyone else? Unless they discern it first. Because they don't have to follow the Pied Piper. Everyone is going to have a different experience. This whole reason for the divine, as I believe it, moving through, in, and as us as a physical aspect of form, seeking itself in, through, and as me, Sandy, I don't know. Maybe you don't believe that the divine is seeking itself in, through, and as you. Maybe you do believe that there is a divineness or almighty that's outside of you, that you have to work towards to get to. Go ahead. Why? Because the divine says, let that be so. That is the story that you want to tell. That is the story that you want to express. Express it. Why? Because it's an expression, it's an experience, and that's what the divine is moving through you to do, is experience itself as form, because it already knows. The Almighty God, if you want to call it God, the awareness that is, the matrix, the illusion, Yahshua consciousness, Buddha consciousness, whatever label you want to call it, is seeking itself as form, because it already knows itself in all that is and if that is not. It knows itself as formless. So it's seeking itself as you. And if you call yourself a Democrat or you call yourself a Republican, it's seeking itself as who you think you are. If you call yourself a Baptist or you call yourself a Methodist or a Catholic or an atheist or an agnostic, then it's seeking itself as who you call yourself, how you see yourself, how you feel yourself, how you believe you know yourself. And if you know yourself as someone else and you have an opinion, another person can say, well, that's all and well good, but what's your opinion got to do with me? They don't have to follow your Pied Piper. They don't have to follow your pipe. You can yell at them. You can tell them, if you've dropped in on my rail, it must be that you're here, and let me shout at you a little bit. Let me let you know how you really should see it. No, they don't really have to see it any damn way you scream at them about, because that's your opinion. The more you say your opinion, it becomes your belief. The more you talk and embody your belief, it becomes your truth. Then that's your truth and your expression. The divine is going to say, let it be so. Just because the divine isn't stopping you doesn't mean you're not going to see it as right or wrong, or somebody else is not going to see it as right or wrong, because we were given those abilities in third density. We were given, the divine created the polarity, the upper and the middle and the lower and the lowest to the low. The divine created it all. There would not be any polarities, lower or higher, without the energy of the divine. You get to decide how long you want to stay in lack or envy or hate or malice or jealousy. Or you get to decide how long you want to be in victim. You get to decide when you want to change your stories. You get to decide that. You get to decide. I hear people say, I'm calling my power back. Well, here's the thing. You call your power back from wherever it laid, then whatever that energy attracted comes back with you. For me, I don't want to go through the extra thing of cleansing it. Let it stay where it stayed for me. Why? Because I got a wellspring of energy. I could just call up some more. Leave it there. I'm not in lack about my energy. I don't have to call it back from anybody. I'm being called to serve. Serve means that some of my energy has to go out there to people who are on the lower energy spectrum, who are looking for growth and expansion. Divine came from a realm where there was no thing like fear. I took energy and I made fear. Fear of other people, of what they're doing and whatnot. And you know what? They play on that. That energy just grows them. But then I get to have a discernment. How does it really make me feel living in fear? That's what your feelings are for. If they make you be anxious and always your body's always hurting, it hurts to think. You get to change that. Your higher beings didn't put any time frame on how long they wanted to feel what the energy of fear was like. It's just our form body and our conscious mind have been told by others that we need to fear everything. And instead of discerning it, we just took it on as information. Well, your body is going to respond to fear. It's going to respond and show illness and show stress and everything like that. Yes, constantly cleansing is exhausting. But you don't have to do that. You can opt out of that story. Somebody told you you had to call back all your energy, and you called back your energy, and then the energy came back with other people's energy on it, and then you subterfuged it, you pushed it down because that energy was making you feel a certain way, and you didn't want to feel it, so you pushed it down. Then when somebody comes in through the energies that's matching that energy in the back, that's deep down in you, that's vibrating, and they trigger you, right? Do you see the cycle? Of course you're going to have to cleanse yourself one day. Cleanse could be surrendering. Cleanse could go out feeling unpacking the layers, feeling what you got to feel, crying, shifting, being sometimes being mad. Oh yeah, and blaming everybody else for that feeling, right? Blaming your generational curses, everything that came forward for you to be you, and for your higher being to try on a vibration of whatever it is. But you get to sit at the seat of your soul and ask your higher being, are you done yet feeling that? Because let me tell you how my body and my mind feel. Right? And explain it to your higher being. I'm feeling nauseous. I'm feeling irritated. I'm feeling upset. I'm feeling mad. I'm feeling confused. I've got kidney this. I've got I think I'm getting sick from this. My body is, reacting. Have a seat with your higher being, and then be open for to listen to what your higher being tells you. Higher being is going to say, I never told you that you had to stay in that. And then you get to use your opt-out clause. You know what your opt-out clause is? I'm going to say it again. It's your free will to change, to shift, to take in wisdom and understanding, to discern it for yourself and your highest and your greatest good, and then evolve into a different you. Doesn't mean third density is going to evolve and change, but it means that whatever you evolve and change into in through a different conscious lens, you'll see 3D a little bit differently. Hi, Kiki. You'll find out where you used to watch the news 24/7 from the time you got up till the time you came home and went to bed. You find out you're seeing it a whole different different way. Those soul contracts are only like kids playing on the playground saying, I want to feel this and I want to feel this. Will you be, I need to I need to feel what abandonment is like. And then you're going to have the higher being saying, okay, I'm going to be your mother, and I'm going to be your father, I'm going to be your grandmother and your grandfather, and we're going to start a story, and we're going to pay that story forward, and then we're going to drop little how a inspector, when he's looking for clues, we're going to drop little clues into your DNA, into your light codes. So when your higher being comes online, it can go and look at your light codes and recall why it came in, and then the story will be set. The play will be set. And then then through Sandy, my higher being gets to feel a story. It gets to feel what abandonment is like. It gets to feel what feeling naive is like. It gets to feel all those things. But Sandy didn't have to live in them a long time. She didn't have to carry them with her a long time. When I found out I could sit at the seat of my soul and have a conversation and find out where I get to use my opt-out clause, I started opting out on shit. And that also meant taking away the bubble wrap of all the things that I suppressed and feel them and go, okay, surrender them now. I don't have time to feel them for the next 60-something years of my life. Done. Well, does that mean I'll be perfectly and life won't come back around and smack me in the face and say, what do you want to do with this? No, it means that whatever life that I was living in, whatever story that I was living that is no longer for my highest and greatest good, I get to sit at the seat of my soul, have an embodying moment, and discern what is for my highest and greatest good anymore. Instead of waiting for people to correct themselves so that I can live a better life. That's what taking your power back means. It means that you put yourself back in the driver's seat. And you give your ego a moment to sit in the back seat. You can tell your ego to put the gag back in its mouth. Don't say anything until I give you my update. Let's learn a few things. And when we're learning things, we get to also have discernment about the things that we are learning to find out if they're for our highest and greatest good. Once again, I go back to that song in that lyric that I was listening to this morning. You got opinions, but what your opinions got to do with me? Everybody's going to have opinions about the latest news yesterday and whatnot, and I'm not going to give it the time of day. If you do not see me liking your post on that particular information or news, it's because I opted out of that. But I don't expect you to. And I gave my opinion to my higher being, my conscious mind, and my body, and we had a conversation internally about it, and my higher being reminded me, you opted out of that. You don't do politics. I don't. Do I have an opinion? Yes, it's within me. Do I want to share it with you? No. Because it doesn't make a difference, because what's my opinion got to do with you? Because I'm not going to take my time to tell you how I'm consciously seeing it now. It's about growth. It's about expansion. It's about the story. Everybody's having the story. Even the people in your politic religion, your business religion, your life, your friend's story, your work story, your play story, your travel story, your raising, getting married and raising kids story. All those. You're playing, and in all those areas. When you're tired of playing your story in it, when it begins to go awry, you get to opt out and say, okay, I'm done with this story. Let me sit down at the seat of my soul and see how this story that is no longer for my greatest and for my highest and greatest good and the greatest good of all the people that are in this story, how is it going to change? How is it going to grow? How is it going to expand? What do I need to surrender? And if you're expecting other people to change so that you can figure out your story, other people aren't going to do that. They're not going to help you opt out. They're already playing the story so that you can discern whether it's time for you to opt out or not. Sometimes you got to use your own energetic field to open those doors instead of expecting people to open the door for you. And expecting people to follow your opinions of what's wrong and what's right, what feels good, what doesn't feel good, because everybody is having a different expression in this life story. They just so happened that some of those higher beings came in with the story that they wanted to be in groups. They wanted to be in clique groups. Some of them came in with the story that, yeah, we'll be the 1% that runs the world. That's the story that they came into. And guess what? Some of the higher beings that came in to be the world run, they said, hey, we'll do it. And then they did it for a while, and all of a sudden people started waking up going, no, I don't like that story anymore. I want to play somewhere else. And then instead of it being 1%, it was less than 1%. Oh, and sometimes there were more people that went back to sleep saying, oh, I don't like being awake energetically. I think I'll just, go back to sleep. Yeah. And yes, that is a free will choice. So those who believe what they want to believe, that's a free will choice. Those who change what they want to believe and grow and expand, that's a free will choice too. Yes. Life still occurs to integrate further. If the universe is constantly expanding and changing and growing, why would you think that we would not? We are made of the same energy that the universe is made of, that the cosmic universe is made of. We're made of the same stardust energy. And we are constantly integrating, interfacing with the divine. Unless your free will choice is not to integrate. That's a free will choice, and the divine says, let it be so. It's an experience. You want to take a little bit longer to integrate, interface? Let it be so. There are some people that were born into this third density to live life. They might not ever have what we consider a soul awakening or a spiritual awakening moment. They might just live life, enjoy life the way it is. Their energy quotient is feeding earth consciousness and feeding humanity, so earth consciousness and humanity can shift, grow, and expand. They're just living life, enjoying life. And you look at them and say, oh, those are lucky ducks. Like everything great always comes their way. Why? Because they're living life, and even though they don't know the name of it called intention, they're having an intentional moment of enjoying their self and living life and growing and expanding in just the way they are growing and expanding. Maybe they never want to be millionaires. Maybe they never want to own their own businesses. Maybe they like working for the companies that they work for. Maybe they like getting a check every other Friday or twice a month. And maybe they like only going on one vacation once every 2 years. Maybe they like that. What's your opinion of they're not using their sovereign or liberation? What's your opinion got to say that they're not being like me, so they're not really free? And we need to wake them up. They're only asleep to the fact that their higher being is veiled. But they're aware that they're having a mind and a body experience. And if it feels good to you, to them, who are we to change that? Who are we to decide that we have to change their energy of luck? Who are we to get to decide that? Once again, that song just rings in my head. Your opinion is your opinion, but what's your opinion got to do with me? in some areas of life, I feel retired. Is that, I don't know, retired can be a good retired or a feeling claustrophobic retired. I am retired from my work area, but I'm not retired from life. I retired from a 40-year work experience working for other people in other companies, and I enjoyed some of it, and some of it was tedious, some of it, but I lived and expressed life. I just realized that, in the last 2 years of being retired, going, this feels great. I can, if my body needs to sleep in, and I have no appointments, it can sleep in. It can rest while my body acclimates to the energy and the anchoring in the consciousness of how I'm looking at 3D now. It's nice to know and see and feel the shifting. And the shifting is okay for me, but it doesn't have to be for other people. Just because I shift, my sisters and brothers don't have to shift. They're shifting without knowing they're shifting, and that's okay. They don't have to have an awakening moment just like me. Now, if life is tough in your household, you still have to sit with yourself and ask, who do you want to be in the essence of where you're at as your household? Do you need to address your financial situation? Do you need to address your emotional situation? You can't change them. That's the expectation of spirituality, is that when we awaken, we get to change other people, but we don't. You awaken to your spirituality, your one-on-one relationship with the divine, and then you go inward to yourself and say, who do you want to be in this now moment in the household that you're living in? How do you want to change? How do you want to expand? What are your needs? But see, your ego is very used to you or telling you that you get to just constantly go back into your past, relive your past, and blame everybody else for the uncomfortability of how you're living now, instead of going inward. Your higher being knows how to help you discern, where your ego only knows how to help you survive with past moments that fit a criteria of what you're going through in that now moment. And then if your higher being is the loudest in the room, you're going to access that information as judgment. You're going to try to use it to change a situation or circumstance, and then you're going to get mad at yourself because you still come up with the same scenario, the same solution, and it doesn't work. You're responsible for you. The moment you understand that you have all this great and glorious power in you, you become responsible for it. Otherwise, other people will talk you into how to use your gifts, your talents, your skills, your energetic gifts and talents and skills according to them. And usually you have to ask yourself, is that for your highest and greatest good or theirs? You have to ask yourself why somebody's always whispering in you, trying to dull your shine. And then go to look at their shine. They're telling you not to do things that they're doing. They're telling you, hey, take a break off of Instagram. You guys all need to break. But they're still there. They're still there putting out 20 reels. They're still there bumping their numbers up, but they're telling you that the divine told them that you need to take a break. You need to go, and before taking them at their word, go sit at the seat of your soul and ask if it's break time. Your higher being will not lie to you because it does not know how to lie. It does not know how to manipulate you. It honors your free will choices. So if you want to leave your higher being layered, you get to. If you just want to live life through your body and your mind, it's a free will choice, and the divine says, let it be so. And then your however much your higher being is unveiled, it will try to guide you, but it will not usurp your higher frequency. If it gives you a guiding moment and you don't choose it, if it is trying to give you a guiding moment to go right on a street instead of left, and you choose left, anyway, you feel it, you have a knowing of it, and you choose left, and you get into an accident, and then you go, oh, I had this sixth sense that I should have went this way. Then that's part of your learning and your discernment that you can take in and go, oh, I need to remember that. I need to allow that recall. When I get moments like that, I'm gonna allow myself to start listening a little bit. I had a friend a long time ago when oh wow, this is about. She started out as my supervisor, and she ended up being my friend. This is well over 20 years ago, right? She was used to going home, to driving to and from work a certain way. Even if the freeways or the road, I can't remember if she took a freeway. I think it was, she took the canyons, right? And even if the canyons roads were backed up, and she knew that they were going to be backed up, she'd get the alert about the canyon roads being backed up or whatnot. The news flashes. Back then, it wasn't like it is now, where you can put it in your maps or anything, right? And she would take that, regardless of it, right? Sometimes it would be, she would be 2 hours getting home, where it used to usually only be 20 minutes or 30 minutes. Because she would not change. Even though everything in her said, I could take a different route. And I remember us talking about it, and I asked her why, and she said, I don't know, I just think it's programmed in me. I don't like change. And she was for real. That's who she was. And the divine, even back then, was saying, let that be so. That's the story. That's the expression. The divine isn't going to make her change. If you want to resist change, that which you resist will persist. It'll show back up. And you get to, I remember those canyons in the LA area. Yes. It's called, I think the canyon was called Laurel Canyon. It took you from, I believe, the city of Sherman Oaks all the way down to to Hollywood. Or actually to Sunset Boulevard, and then you could go anywhere. Right? So everybody's got to have an opinion. You get to ask that embodying question, what's your opinion got to do with me? What's that person's opinion got to do with me? Let me sit down. Let me discern it. People are re-forwarding and tweeting, depending on what platforms you're on, post and stuff. And instead of you actually looking at the post and really getting into it and deep rooted into it, do you really support the post? Or is it just because you like that person that's following you, you just want to push it on forward and whatnot? Do you really want to like it? Because it's not going to hurt their feelings if you don't like one post, or you don't push their opinion of that. It's okay for you to have expression for yourself. Right? It's okay for you. It's okay for a person to express their opinion to you. You ain't got to shut them down and make them feel bad. It's just you look at them and go, oh, okay, that's your perspective. Oh, okay. And then you know what? I'm going to have to discern that a little bit. Right? You don't have to flow the same way they flow. You don't have to be them. You're being you. They already are a unique them. They don't need you to help them be them. Right? You've got other places where you're in alignment with people. You don't have to be in alignment with all of their life story. Just because you're in alignment with them spiritually, you don't have to be in alignment with them on the political realm or the religious realm or whatnot. Yes, you can be spiritual, have an awakening moment and be spiritual and still go to church. You have to decide who you're going to be in that moment when you wake up and you go to church. When you're sitting in whatever church it is that you're sitting, who are you going to authentically be? Not who are you going to change sitting in the next seat next to you. Who are you going to be in that moment when you're discerning what the message of the day is? Who are you going to be in when you're speaking to your friends or the pastor or whatnot after the service? It's not doesn't mean you have to push your spiritual agenda on them. It means that you have an opportunity to be a unique and authentic you in that moment, giving your higher being an experience. When you're ready for your highest and greatest good to leave religion or certain churches or relationships, whether you're married or you have a boyfriend or a girlfriend, when you're ready to do that, that's for your highest and greatest good. Then you get to decide, sit at the seat of your higher being and decide what's the best way to do this for the highest and greatest good of yourself and those that you serve. Serving in a relationship, serving as a girlfriend or a boyfriend or a husband or a wife. Because the story has now come to a close. Because you're ready to close that chapter and open another one. Or the same for other people. You can't control how they do it, when they do it. You can just know that it's being done. That's the change. That's the shift that's happening. Who do you want to be in that shift that's happening? Life isn't happening to you. It's happening because of you. Maybe you chose to be with someone that wasn't aligned with you. You both were not in alignment. And you both trying to physically make it work. But it's not working. And one person opted into the opt-out clause and they took it. Maybe they weren't aware that that's what they were doing. Now, if you resist them leaving and opting out, then your story gets a little bit harder to deal with. because it keeps coming back around to you saying, what do you want to do? Do you want to keep this hate for this partner who's ready to opt out, or who has already opted out? Maybe they opted out, they left the situation, they served you with divorce papers, or they left the situation and moved out of the state. They just don't want to be bothered. But you're still opting into the story and resisting and feeling more and more pain because you're not ready to surrender. And they're saying, well, what's your opinion about the fact that I don't want to be in the relationship? Got to do with me. I'm going to go. Now, if you're an awakening being like you say you are, then go sit at the seat of your soul. If you're a meditating guru, go sit at the seat of your soul and ask yourself about that embodying question. And who am I going to be in this situation? I can't control that person. What do I need to do? Well, maybe, just maybe, your higher being says you need to stop being so damn controlling. You need to surrender it, let it go. And then you need to go inward and find out what type of person you align with. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. We are, believe it or not, what blew my mind is finding out that over 8 billion of us are expressing a story, that the divine is expressing the experience through us, all separately and all at once. Our souls got together, or our higher beings, whichever you call, and started playing on the playground saying, I want to do this. They started drawing their little maps. Okay. Someone said, ooh, I want to feel what it's like to be controlled. I want to be a ruler. And they got together on the playfield and said, okay, well, I want to play that too. Let's be rulers of different places, and we'll interact with each other. And then other ones said, well, if you have rulers, you got to have somebody to rule. I guess I'll play that for a little while. It doesn't matter whether it's a dictator or whether it was, government or whatnot. They were on the playground and they decided to do this. And then they said, remember, I'm only going to play this maybe for a little while. And remember, our form bodies, these avatars, they have an opt-out clause. Okay, I'll remember. And Earth Consciousness, she said, okay, everybody get to playing. Because the more you play, the more your light quotient of energy helps me to shift. And if I'm shifting, you're shifting. You get to do that. Everybody's being exactly who they came to be. As far as form, as far as our souls. Oh yeah, and that definitely means people who want control, because control shows up in many roles. People being thieves. They don't want to, get their own, but they want to control others and take what others have so that they don't have to do. That includes rapists and murderers. It's their story. But guess what? The divine put into operation the law of cause and effect. What you put out comes back. So even though you're not physically seeing that somebody's getting their just dues, the divine said the law of cause and effects works interpersonally. You don't need to see somebody getting their just desserts. You don't need to direct it or choreograph it, because the laws of the universe are perfect. They don't need human intervention, though you think they do. There are 7 universal laws that we know of, right? They cannot be altered. I wrote this down, so I remember. They do not decide anything. They will not budge. They have no gray areas or blurred lines. They have no blurred lines or gray areas to function in. They know exactly what to do. Why? Because they are the divine, and the divine is them. They are the I, and the I is them. They don't need our help. Matter of fact, they're there to serve us. They're waiting for you to give them a command about you, not about somebody else. The first law is called the law of divine oneness. It's thought to be the first law that all of creation was created from. The law of one. Right? The second law is the law of vibration. Everything vibrates. There's not a thing that does not vibrate. You may even think, oh, inanimate objects have a vibration of their own. Yes. The third law is, everybody knows this one, the law of attraction. It's also known as the law of manifestation. Everything vibrates. The fourth is the law of action. It means what we focus on takes form. That's action. I wrote, simply put, we must take action, meaning to focus on the desire and listen for the universe giving you vibrational direction. It's going to manifest for you right away. There's no, oh, God must be waiting. Nope. Your manifestation comes in. It's going to point you to the place where you can vibrationally stand in that area where your manifestation is. But you have to be vibrating at the intensity of that form that you created. Yeah, I said you created. Right? Intention plus energy is created. You have to vibrate through the whole thing, not just through the wanting or the asking. But you have to vibrate in the feeling of what it feels like to get it. That takes you into the allowing moment of being in the same vibrational moment of that which you're going to receive. The fifth one is called the law of correspondence. I'm getting excited. It's the physical world. This duality is of light and energy. It is of vibration. It is of motion. And it had its corresponding principles is in you. You're corresponding with it. It's not doing anything to you because it just wants to willy-nilly. It's corresponding with you. Life is happening because of you. Good or bad. Or indifferent. Right? The sixth law is the law of cause and effect. This is also known, everybody's favorite, karma. Karma gonna get you. Karma's a bitch. I heard karma being taught like this, and I thought it was really great. Michael Beckwith said, karma is your drop-off point. It's your starting point. It's very personal. Karma doesn't happen. I can't tap into other people's karma and paint it for them. Oh, I hope they get theirs. I hope they fall off a cliff. I hope their car breaks down. No, what you put out comes back to you. It doesn't go to anyone else. Karma is your drop-off point. If you have put out, karma brings that life back around to you and say, okay, it's still here. This is what's happening. Do you want to change it? Right? I wrote this. It says, the law of karma is about action. And all actions have consequences, no matter whether we are conscious of the action or we are unconscious of it. Whether we believe that we created the action or not. Karma is still going to vibrate. Karma is still going to bring it back to you. Cause and effect. What you put out, you get back. What you say about someone else comes back to you. The words are very powerful. The seventh is the law of rhythm. Everything has a rhythm. Everything vibrates. Everything is octave notes. Everything slows down. Think of a pendulum. That pendulum swings all the way. And then as it's coming back, it slows down. And then goes up and comes back. So it can be swinging all the way from over here. But it slows down. Right? I wrote, everything begins to slow down. It has its peaks and it has its valleys. It pushes forward and then it releases and reverses. It's like the swing of a pendulum. We see the seasons change. This law governs our spirituality, our relationships, our health. Our lives are not random. There is rhythm to it. Can you feel the rhythm? The key to successfully being in sync with this law is to become aware of the balance of energy that is flowing. To become aware of the balance of the flow. Everything vibrates. Everything sings. Everything has octaves. Everything flows. And all you need to do is become aware of it. Not worried about who hasn't become aware of it. And they might be living their life in body and in mind and be flowing with the universe. Just naturally flowing. You call those people, oh, those people are always lucky. That's what their energy is. You just happen to call it luck. So, I am going to read something that I wrote back in 2022. I started out that morning saying, I am confident in me. I know I am brilliant, kind, passionate, determined. I know I am resilient, innovative, and creative. I know that I am happy because I was born happiness. I know that I am generous because I was born generosity. I know that I am full of prosperity because I was born prosperous. God did not forget anything in me. I went on to write, I know that today is my day to shine. So I am shining and I am doing it. in every place my steps take me. I am aligned with the presence that is never in absence. I am aligned with the divine. I wrote, I am a divine spiritual being having a human incarnation through all of my experiences. Note, I didn't say good or bad, just they're all experiences. I know that today I am thankful and grateful that I am an active, productive, and financially prosperous, inspirational, and motivational speaker and podcaster. That's what I said back then in September of 2022. I also went on to write, I am so happy to be serving my community, my city, my state, my home, through my business, and my soul awakening with Sandra. I am so happy that my gifts, my talents, and skills within me are rising to the occasion of sourcing my Marshall Account Solutions and my Soul Awakening with Sandra as a full service entity, a full service form event. That's what I wrote. And then I did this thing here. I am. That's what I wrote. That's what I wrote. You are unique expression of source of the I am, of Almighty, of Jesus consciousness, Buddhist consciousness, and every other consciousness that there is of the divine. You are a expression. You are an infinite expression of the divine. Have a glorious day today. Make this, instead of just Tuesday, call it your creative day. Today's my creative day. Tell people, happy creative day. And they'll go, what? Well, instead of me calling it Tuesday, I call it creative day. And if they don't go with your opinion, it's okay. They have a right to say, what's your opinion got to do with me? Take what resonates for you. This will be in replay. This will be in Soul Talk with Sandeem replay. And I will share it with my Soul Talk with Sandeem page as well. So, I'll share it as a collaboration on both pages. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. I'm so blessed to be here and to be able to have these conversations. Follow me on my YouTube page for new things to come, because Soul Talk with Sandeem is going to be live. I'm trying to get it live on Instagram, but if it doesn't work on Instagram, it will be live on YouTube. And if you want to share new, fresh information about your skills, your talents, and your gifts, how you use those spiritual gifts and talents in your everyday life, that's where I'll be on Soul Talk with Sandeem. Just a talk show for 45 minutes to an hour, and it'll be going live. So at least live on YouTube until I can get it live on IG as well. We'll see what happens. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. Tuesday hugs. A big hug for everyone. Thank you, thank you, thank you. When I hug myself and I close my eyes, I envision the intention of hugging you. All of you. All at once. One love. Create your day today. Your intention plus your energy creates your form. What's your day? What do you want? How do you want your day to take form? One love. Peace.